Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'll be doing a short summary book review of a very important parenting book that has really been beneficial to me, that I think would really benefit most parents, childcare professionals, or just people that are around kids and want to understand them and connect with them better. And the book I'm talking about is called No Drama Discipline: The Whole Brain Way to Calm the Chaos and Nurture Your Child's Developing Mind. And the book is written by two authors. I'll have to look at the names. Tina Payne Bryson and Daniel J. Siegel. Daniel J. Siegel is a clinical, I have to look at what they do to not miss anything. So he's a clinical professor of psychiatry at the UCLA School of Medicine, a Harvard graduate of the medical school, and an author. And Tina Payne Bryce is a PhD, and she's a pediatric and adolescent psychotherapist and does a lot of work with kids, works with parents and educators. And yes, the book is so powerful that I have already listened to it probably 3 times, I think, and I'm kind of like re-listening to it again. And it's because it's full of so many good nuggets of wisdom that pretty much any parent will face when it comes to dealing with their kids. And what I really enjoy about the book is the way they talk in the philosophy of discipline. Being a first-time parent, when I had Adriana, I had no idea what type of a discipline strategies are out there or how to deal with stuff like that. And it all comes with experience. And so what I learned though is that certain things just did not feel right to me, like the conventional way of discipline. And for most people, when you hear the word discipline, what do you think about? I'm gonna give you a second. Most likely you thought of punishment or consequences, reprimanding in some capacity or some way. And what they really go into is kind of like the true meaning of the word discipline, which is to teach. And so when you really think about discipline from that standpoint, that the whole point of disciplining is to teach and to build skills, then your whole approach and your whole sort of way of dealing with your child changes. And you approach every tantrum or meltdown or disagreement from a very different standpoint, where your goal is to teach and to build the skills. So it's not to give punishment or consequence, although some things will have natural consequences, but the way you deal with it is in a very compassionate and empathetic way. So that really felt very close to my heart. And I believe that if every child was disciplined in such a way, it would just create such a different world, because children's brains are growing at such a fast pace, and it's the most important time when they're children, is you're shaping the way their brains work. And to me, it is the absolute most important job as a parent to make sure that I help their brains to grow in the most effective, in the most loving and compassionate ways, so they have the skills needed to be happy and successful and just be like, have the whole brain, which is, the authors really go into a lot of depth and a lot of science behind how the brain develops and grows, which I really love. I need to understand everything from like a scientific, not scientific, like more like how it works and why it works like that. So they really provide a lot of facts about that, which is very helpful. Again, I had no clue of any of this stuff prior to becoming a parent. So it's very insightful and very interesting, and it just makes you really understand things from a very different perspective. So what I really love and appreciate about the book is that they provide a lot of practical strategies on how to deal with tantrums and meltdowns and tears and all kinds of situations. And also they provide a lot of real life stories from their own lives, because they're both parents, and also stories of people that they've worked with. And a lot of the stories are not, like these perfect scenarios where things work out great at the end. They're real life stories, real life situations where sometimes it doesn't work out, even if you do apply the principles and the strategies. So that's very helpful to see, kind of like in a practical setting, how to apply those strategies. So I really love that. And also the whole kind of point in a short summary is that the way to do the discipline and to teach the lesson is to first connect with your child and then redirect them. So the way you're able to do that is the brain can either be in a reactive state or a receptive state of mind. So when usually most misbehavior happens when the brain is in a reactive state of mind, and you really cannot really do much in that state. What you want to do first when the brain is in that state is to first connect and to show empathy and to show understanding. And once you do that, once you show compassion and empathy to your child, then once the mind calms down, the brain calms down and is in a receptive state, that's when you go ahead and you teach the lesson and you talk through whatever the situation is and you kind of work through the issue. So that's very helpful to understand, at least for me, in that way, because most importantly as well is that you want to make sure you yourself are not in a reactive state and you yourself are in a state of mind where you are able to calmly approach your child and calmly to teach. Because again, if you approach every discipline, if every misbehavior from a standpoint of this is a lesson, this is the misbehavior is basically showing where the area that they need the most help in. So it's definitely not easy, and I'm sure every parent, you know, knows what I'm talking about. It's easy to talk about it right now, but when it happens in the moment, it's not an easy thing to do. But again, the responsibility that we parents have, I feel anyways, is it's the most important time is when their brains are growing at such a fast pace and they're really you're shaping their mind, you're shaping their brain, you're shaping their belief system, you're helping them either learn good lessons or good habits or develop bad habits that will not serve them in their life. So that's why I feel that it's the most important job as a parent to discipline in a way that is effective. And that kind of is the whole point of learning to do it in a way that will be helpful. Otherwise, what is the point? If it's not working, what is the point of disciplining if it's not working? It's just creating more drama and more chaos, and it's really not helping you or your child. So again, some of the most conventional ways of discipline are probably like timeouts and punishments and spanking. So they go through each one and sort of talk about why each one works or doesn't work and is effective or ineffective. So for me, none of those ways of disciplining feel right to me. It just feels like the most unloving way to do it. But again, a lot of people go to those strategies because they just don't know what else to do, and it's probably the way they were raised. So you just kind of, it's like your default setting, you go to those ways of disciplining. But again, most of the time they're not effective in the long term. They might reach the goal of a short term to like stop the misbehavior or whatnot, but in the long term, and also what is the message you're sending to your child. So for example, let's take timeouts. Again, this is just my personal feeling. When the child's misbehaving, it's really like, from my own experience with Adriana, because Andres is really too young for that, but with Adriana, when she's misbehaving, I can tell that she is either tired or she's lost control. Basically, she's lost control and she needs help, is when she needs the most love. It is the hardest time to show her love sometimes, but it is the most important time to just be more compassionate and loving. So if they're in that state and they're misbehaving and you send them in a timeout, what is the message? So when you are at your worst, I don't want to be around you. Go and be on your own, and then when you've calmed down and you are able to be yourself, so to speak, then we're okay. I don't know, to me that just doesn't sit well with me, and they do explain it in a more like scientific way of what that really does. So instead, what they suggest is a time in. So again, you go back to the same strategies of first connecting and then redirecting. So you would again show empathy first. So for example, let's take the example of a sibling hits another sibling. So you would say, you acknowledge their feelings and you show empathy by acknowledging their feelings. For example, wow, you got really mad, so you acknowledge that, this is how you were feeling at the time. And when you do that, and it works with not just children, it works with any relationship. When you first acknowledge the person's, how they feel, right away they feel understood, they feel seen. And again, that will help to calm them down and bring them into a receptive state of mind, to be able to hear whatever else is coming, whatever the lesson is coming. So, and then you try to talk to them. Obviously, you do this would only work with a child a little bit older that is verbal, but even with younger kids, they do explain how to work with them as well, and you're building on the skills. So first, again, you can, if they're not verbal, you can still explain things. Maybe you're not able to ask the questions, but you can acknowledge the feelings, and they do understand. They're very smart. Children are very, very smart. So in that example, you would acknowledge the feelings, and then once they start to calm down through talking and kind of making them feel understood and still loved regardless of the misbehavior, then you go ahead and say, you know, hitting hurts, no hitting, or whatever, however you want to word that. So that's when the lesson will actually land, because they will feel loved and there's that connection there. So that's just one example. They go through so many. So I don't actually have the physical book. These days, all I have time for is just listening on Audible, like listening to the audiobooks. So that's what I have done. And again, I think I'm re-listening to it either third or fourth time now, because every time that I do, I find that I pick up certain things. Repetition is how we learn. So yeah, I really highly recommend this book to every single parent. I wish it was like mandatory reading right when you find out that you're going to be a parent, or maybe a little bit later when the child's kind of starting to grow out of the baby phase. Because if all parents would discipline in a way, in this loving and connecting way, I really feel that the world would be so different. Because again, the child grows with a whole brain, and they explain what all these terms mean. And yeah, I think the world would be a much loving, compassionate, and just like a better place. So I definitely recommend you guys check out the book. I don't want to talk too much about it or go into too much detail because there's a lot of info, but just kind of wanted to do a short overview and summary and share it with you. Again, if you are a parent yourself, then definitely do. If you're not a parent, send it to a parent that send the video or gift them the book, because it really can make a huge difference in the child's life and in the family's life as well, because everybody, it's a win-win. You're building skills and you're helping your children to become emotionally intelligent and self-aware. And again, the whole point is to, I should have started with that actually, it's basically you want them to become self-disciplined, not so that when you're not there, they have the skills needed to know right from wrong and to kind of be able to discern those things. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new here, then definitely hit the subscribe button. And yeah, if you like the review or this types of videos, then I'd be happy to do more as I find new books. There are a couple similar books out there that they all kind of fall under the same umbrella of parenting in a kind of a wholesome, aware, conscious, and compassionate way. So if you want a video on that, let me know and I can do like a parenting book recommendation video. Again, they're all similar to this book because that's just my personal philosophy and way of wanting to be a parent. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you want that video, and hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.